Most people think the worst thing a family can ask for is money. Mine asked for my body. Not in anger. Not in desperation. But in a tone so calm, it almost sounded reasonable. And that was the part that stayed with me. My name is Elena Clark. I'm 38 years old. I read contracts for a living. Which means I've spent most of my adult life studying the exact moment a sentence stops being harmless and becomes dangerous. That distinction saved me. But I didn't know that yet. It started, like most controlled situations do in my family, with an invitation that sounded harmless. Dinner this Sunday, my MOT said. Nothing formal. Nothing formal in our house usually meant something had already been decided. And I was the last to be informed. At the time, I had been living alone for 9 months. A small apartment. One window facing west. The kind of place where silence isn't uncomfortable, it's earned. I had rebuilt my life there after my divorce. Quietly. Carefully. No one in my family had asked how I was doing in those 9 months. But suddenly, they wanted me at dinner. Together. All of them. If you've ever been invited somewhere that felt prearranged, you already understand what I felt pulling into that driveway. Too many cars. Too much light inside. Too much preparation for something that was supposed to be casual. There were 8 people in that dining room. My parents. My sister Rachel. Her husband Dan IEL. 2 aunts. My cousin. And me. 8 chairs. 1 empty seat beside mine. And a folder placed neatly beside my plate. Cream-colored. Too thick to be anything ordinary. No one mentioned it at first. We talked about weather. About someone's new kitchen renovation. About a neighbor's dog. But conversation, in my family, has always been a delay tactic. They wait for you to relax. Then they place the real thing in front of you. It was my mother who finally did it. Elena, she said softly, we wanted to talk to you about something important. She nodded toward Rachel. Rachel didn't look at me. She looked at the folder. You already know what that means. Rachel had been trying to have a child for 11 years. 3 IVF rounds. 2 miscarriages. 1 failed implantation. I knew all of this. I had been there for most of it. I had held her hand in hospital waiting rooms. I had driven her home. I had listened. So when she finally spoke, her voice was already carrying 10 years of weight. We've run out of options, she said. Pause. And we were hoping you could help us. I didn't answer immediately. Because I knew, instinctively, that whatever came next had already been decided without me. My mother leaned forward slightly. It's something beautiful, she said. A surrogate arrangement. Within the family. There it was. Placed gently. Like it wasn't a request. Like it was a conclusion. If you've ever been handed something life-changing in a calm voice, you know how disorienting that moment is. Because nothing sounds aggressive. But everything feels final. I placed my hand on the folder. Didn't open it yet. Just rested my fingers on it. It was heavier than it should have been. I'd like to read this, I said. My aunt smiled. Oh honey, it's just a formality. That was the first mistake they made. Calling it a formality. I read for a living, I said quietly. I'll read it. Daniel, my brother-in-law, spoke for the first time. Let her read it. He didn't look at Rachel when he said it. That was the second signal. The kind you only notice when you're two. I opened the folder. 18 pages. Professionally printed. Structured. Carefully written. Page 1 was exactly what you'd expect. Language about love. Family. Support. Mutual agreement. Page 2 introduced logistics. Medical scheduling. Expenses. Timelines. All framed as a support. None directed toward me. Page 3 started shifting. Control language. Restrictions. Approvals. Decisions, being transferred. Not shared. Transferred. And I didn't react. Because reacting too early gives people time to adjust. I turned to the next page. And that's where everything ended. Page 4. It wasn't written exactly like that. It was longer. More formal. More legal. But the meaning was identical. They had written a clause that allowed them to end the pregnancy. At their discretion. No shared consent. No medical neutrality. No ethical balance. Just control. I kept reading. Because stopping there would have been emotional. And emotion, in that moment, would have weakened my position. Clause 12. Financial liability. That number wasn't rounded. It was precise. Down to the dollar. Meaning it had been calculated. Carefully. Deliberately. That's when I understood something important. This wasn't a request. It was a trap. If you've ever been placed in a situation where no comes with consequences, you already understand what I saw. I closed the folder. Slowly. Placed both hands on top of it. No one spoke. Because they were waiting for the answer they had already written in their heads. I looked at Rachel. Then at my mother. Then at Daniel. And I said, very calmly, I won't be doing this. Silence. Immediate. Complete. My mother spoke first. Elena, don't be dramatic. I shook my head slightly. I'm being precise. Rachel's voice cracked. You didn't even think about it. I looked at her. I did, I said. On page 4. That was the moment everything shifted. Because now they knew. I had read it. And more importantly, I had understood it. My mother's tone changed. Sharpened. After everything this family has done for you, there it was. The debt. The invisible ledger. If you've ever been told you owe your family something undefined, you already know how that sentence ends. I stood up. Didn't raise my voice. Didn't argue. I won't be signing anything, I said. And I won't be discussing it further. Rachel started crying. Real this time. Not controlled. Daniel didn't move. My father said nothing. And I walked out. I didn't slam the door. Because dignity doesn't need sound. I drove home in silence. No music. No calls answered. But I knew something was coming. Because people who plan something like that don't let it go quietly. And I was right. 2 days later, Rachel posted online. Not my name. But enough detail. Enough implication. Enough framing. Sometimes the people you expect love from the most choose themselves instead. It got attention. Sympathy. Support. But here's the thing about written narratives. They only work until someone introduces evidence. That night, I made a copy of the contract. Redacted every name. Every identifier. Left only the language. The clauses. The structure. And I posted it. With one sentence, please read page 4. That was all it took. Because the truth, when presented clearly, doesn't need volume. Within 24 hours, people saw it. Shared it. Questioned it. And the narrative collapsed. Rachel deleted her post. My mother stopped calling. Daniel left their house a week later. No confrontation. No explanation. Just distance. Because some things don't survive being seen clearly. That was the real ending. Not the dinner. Not the argument. The moment the truth became visible. If you've ever been underestimated, you know how powerful that moment is. Now, before I finish this, I want to ask you something. If you've ever been placed in a situation where saying no felt dangerous, leave a comment with the word line. Because that's what this was. A line. And I held it. 6 months later, I moved to a different apartment. New space. New routines. No contact with my mother. No contact with Rachel. My father called once. Just once. I should have said something, he told me. I didn't argue. I just said, I know. And that was enough. Because clarity doesn't always repair things. But it does end confusion. There's a difference between being kind and being available for use. I learned that at 38. At a dinner table. On page 4. And I've never forgotten it. If this story stayed with you, there's more like it waiting. Subscribe. Stay a little longer. And next time, we'll talk about what happens when someone tries to rewrite your story and you decide to publish your own.